On this computer. All right. Hi, this is AIO Financial. Thanks for joining us. We're going to be speaking about taking care of parents or elderly people, long-term care options and the impact it has on a family. I'm Bill.
This is Luis.
All right. I don't know. Do you want to? Well, let me just start. I'm dealing with this right now. I have got an elderly mother dealing with some dementia. And right now she's living at home and wants to live at home. But the only reason she's living at home is because we can take her. She doesn't drive, doesn't cook, because we can prepare meals and uh, we can take her to appointments. But otherwise, we'd have to do something else. Um, so it happens to a lot of families. I don't know, Luis, if you want to speak to any experiences you've had caring for elderly
Well,
or
yeah, I've met your mom and I've shared time with her, and she's pretty self-sufficient, and she seems to have a lot of peace of mind with her, so that's great. It's just that well, she needs some taking care of.
yeah, I mean, without driving and without cooking, you definitely need support. It's funny, she can get a lot delivered. She can get restaurant food delivered, actually grocery stores will deliver. You know, she has been targeted for fraud. I walked in on her while she was talking to someone and opening her accounts, which was scary. Um, she's actually, I'm lucky she's in a good, happy disposition and nice. And I can tell her the same joke over and over, and she likes it. So, I mean, she's fun to be around.
No, it
Um,
is.
which is lucky. And so it's nice taking her to a coffee shop or doing certain things. But everyone's going to have a different situation, and there's not enough time in the
Mhm.
day. I mean, if you're trying to help someone, not only helping her but maintaining the house, because there's always something that needs fixing or upkeep. um Maintaining your own health, maintaining your relationship with your partner, raising kids, uh yeah, trying to get to the gym now and again. It's hard to fit it all in.
No, and you know that if you give some time to her, she's gonna be in a better shape, she's gonna have a better time. So you can have that in mind when you like balance to see if doing something else or well, giving the time to her.
Yeah, it's good for her to have more interactions so she doesn't decay as fast, but you only have so much
Mhm.
time, so you can't do everything. I have a brother and sister. They're both in Phoenix, a couple hours away in Phoenix, and um, they try to come up when they can, but they're juggling their work and um can only help so much. I guess that's another thing too. It's not always fair. Someone might be doing a lot more financial support or actual support. It would be great if everyone could chip in, but sometimes that doesn't happen.
Yeah, in my case, I experienced something quite similar, not the same, because it was my grandmother living with her daughter, my mother. But I was in the house, and yeah, she was taking care of her. And the same, the siblings were like a couple hours away, and it was quite similar, but in Mexico, right?
Yeah, right. That they weren't physically able to help. Were they able to financially help, or did you just have to do it, your family?
Not much, but yeah, they visited sometimes, no? You know how that goes.
Yeah, and visits are nice. It can give you a break, but it's also sometimes it's taking care of someone else because they're not used to where everything is, and they're
Uh-huh.
not really there to help take care of the plants or the leaky sink. They just are there to so they don't feel guilty or to try to help out a little. But I think the other thing that's important is to have a plan because you don't know how quickly your parent or the person you're taking care of, it doesn't have to be a parent. It could be an uncle, it could be a grandparent, it could be a friend, but you don't know how quickly they're gonna decay. And so while you may be able to take care of them just fine right now, it could get bad or it could be harder later, or it could happen quickly. I don't know.
Yes.
Did you get support for your grandmother or were you able to take care of her the whole time?
Well, near the end, she needed way more help from the doctor visits and like pills and everything. Like the pain was too much medication. So yes, it can get to the point where it's way too much. Even if you give her the time,
Yeah.
she needs like more, right?
Yeah, and the time too, it's not always what you want to do. It's not like a gym buddy or someone you're going to go clubbing with. It's you're going to be doing puzzles or having the same conversation over and over. Um because they're not going out and having all these different experiences to talk to you about. So it can be um yeah, redundant, but I think
Yeah, but
yeah, go ahead.
that's our like point of view because as long as I've seen, they're loving it. Every visit from yeah, your siblings or anything, any conversation, like they laugh for real, they like it.
Oh,
But
I
yeah,
know.
for
But I was thinking of like getting my kids to come visit. They'll do it if they
uh-huh.
can take her to get coffee and they get a coffee out of it. But they need a little bit of bribery
Yeah.
because it's not the same as going to the mall with your friends. It's, hanging out with grandma. But but anything helps. It's helpful if she gets more interactions.
Well, and there's places where they can go. You can like send them there. But like culturally, it's different in the US and in Mexico. In my case, with my grandmother, um, it was out of the question. Like she didn't want to go. My mother didn't want her to go.
Yeah.
She felt like she was almost like killing her. I don't know what the feeling was, but it was not positive about it.
And there's senior centers here, and I know like in Hermosillo, one of Lupita's aunts goes to a senior center there, and it's great. She like does
I
crafts and sings and has activities, and it's so good for her mind and body. And there are centers here as well. Um, you just have to have a willing person willing to do it and feeling comfortable and wanting to do that. I think a couple other considerations. You want to make sure the estate plan is in order, that they have a will, they have beneficiaries, they have powers of attorney, healthcare power of attorney to make financial decisions on their behalf, um, and a financial power of attorney so that you can handle paying bills. I do all the bill paying. Every month, I check statements to make sure. Well, actually, the biggest thing is Amazon. It just makes sure there's always boxes showing up and I cringe because I don't know what's been ordered, but it hasn't been it's good. It's been fine, but um just keeping on top of that because there can be fraud, there can be getting taken advantage of. And you just have to, boy, it's a game of take how much control should you take. You don't want to stop them from driving if they want to drive and can drive safely, but at some point you got to tell them, hey, this isn't safe, and you got to stop. And same with the credit cards. At some point, we may have to say, yeah, if you need something from Amazon, I'll do it. Just trust me to do it instead of just ordering. I've returned so many things, but she still likes doing it. We have
Yeah.
pillow covers for every season and all kinds of whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, I think she's got way more time on her hands and entertains with different things.
Yeah, yeah. What keeps her busy? The other thing too is just cost, planning for those costs. So, I mean, our plan right now is if things get really bad and I can't take care of her, well, with Lupita, with my wife, if we can't take care of her and she can't stay in the house, um, if our kids are gone, if it's more than 5 years, then maybe we'd move in with her. If it happens sooner, or possibly later if she needed more support than we could provide. We are looking at Mexico as an option of going down to probably the Guadalajara, Lake Chapala region. There are a lot of Americans down there, and costs are just so much less. Um, Within her Social Security and some of her savings, I think she'd be fine covering her needs down there.
No, that's great. A great option.
And
And
there's a
yeah,
lot
we'll
here.
find some place.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, it's here. It's really expensive. I'm in Tucson. Monthly costs are around 6,000 a month, and that's for just general care. If you're doing okay, if you needed a memory unit or more care, you can get up to 8 to 10,000 a month. We had
Now, you seem confident about Mexico, the language and the culture, but how about someone who doesn't like speak Spanish at all, or who hasn't been to Mexico that much? They should like be aware of the differences, right, between like living in the US and living in Mexico, and more um if you are an elderly, right?
I agree. A couple things I'd say there. One, another just note. We did have a client. Boy, she broke her leg in a unit, and so she needed around the clock care. It was costing like 25,000. Boy, I want to say, boy, could that be a week? It was. I believe the care was $50 an hour for help for. Yeah, 8,000 a week. So 24-hour care, 7 days a week, $50 an hour, $8,000 a week while she was recovering. And that wasn't sustainable for her account. So you can go on Medicaid if you don't have enough assets, if you deplete your estate. You can go on Medicaid, and there are facilities that will allow the government to support you. I think just I was thinking of Lake Chapala as being an option because it is really catered for Americans. In Ajijic, the gringo population, Americans make up about 50 or 60% of the population there. It's very English friendly. Um,
Oh, okay, yeah. There's nothing to be afraid then. It's gonna be like just like being in the US.
it's not exactly like being in the US. There's adjustments, but for a
Uh-huh.
couple $1,000s a month, you can be taken care of with meals and rent and basic services. And then it would be a little more expensive if you needed memory unit or more specific care, but way less than I mean, double, I'd say 3 times as much in the US. And depending on where you are, I'm in Tucson, which isn't even that expensive. If you're in some California, LA or New York or Chicago, I know the prices are even higher.
No, that's great. That's awesome.
I think it's an option. It's something you'd want to visit and plan ahead. You don't want to just be, oh, I have a week in this, I have to find a place very quickly. You'd like to have a plan, know where you're looking. We've looked at some of the facilities there, and I think we'd be able to adjust pretty well. But it is travel. We'd either be living down there while she's there, or someone would. Maybe we'd take turns, or we'd just do regular visits. But Um, Cost is a big one, just quality of care. Um, yeah, there's some different factors there with who's going to provide it. I think the finances are big though, just with can the person afford to have to stay in what kind of facility, stay in their home and pay for people to repair, or maybe siblings are doing the repairing, or not siblings or kids are doing the repairs, maintaining the household. Are they close enough? I mean, that's another thing. Do the parents need to move closer to a relative or live in with a relative? A kid or some friend or family. I have also heard she has some friends that that could be an option too, that they could live together and that could help with resources.
All right, yeah, I've never thought about that before. I've heard from my mother that she doesn't want us to take care of her as much. She would like to be independent, but yeah, we haven't lived through that yet. Because she lived that with her mom, having to do a lot of the caring, and like she doesn't want to do the same. So I guess we will have to prepare, yeah, have a
Yeah,
plan.
it's one of those things you don't want to be, I'm sure as the parent, you don't want to be a burden for your kids, but as a kid, it
Uh-huh.
also feels good to give back a little. I mean, you kind of owe them. I don't know. I mean, it's not bad helping out, but it's tough because when they're in their 80s, a lot of the kids are in their 50s.
Uh,
And if you've started your family late, you have kids that are still in high school, and it's, yeah, it's a juggle. And you're still working. Most people were still working. And so you just have a lot to keep track of.
I
I
feel that. Uh-huh.
Well, I was just
Um,
gonna say, I know there's an aunt in Caborca who she wanted to be independent. Her kids aren't all that close, and so she did get a roommate, and they kind of help each other out. I think the roommate doesn't pay rent or pays very little rent, but helps with meals and running errands.
mhm. Now I feel that giving back, you almost want to do good, to be able to help, if not with time but financially, right?
I think too, some people do not want to go to a retirement community, but having visited a bunch of them for clients and for family, some of them are nice. It's almost like college dorm. I mean, they have depending, there's a wide range of them. I mean, some of them smell bad and are not the nicest setups, but some of them are, they have activities and you get some social interaction. They, can help take care. So there's a big range of, if you can afford it, it can be a nice experience for sure.
Right.
Yeah. And that is, getting down to that Medicaid limit, you have to wipe out all your assets minus you can have $2,000. You have to get rid of everything. You can keep your primary residence, but everything else has to be spent. And they have a 5-year look back. So you could start gifting it, but then you'd have to have 5 years before you to qualify for Medicaid. And there are these Medicaid geared trusts and plans. And um, we do have some people trying to get things out of parents' estate. They have to really trust the kids because the kids could just go buy a car, but that is an option. And not that Medicaid gives you great facilities. You have to be in a Medicaid qualified facility, so it's not the uh, fancy assisted living places, but there are places that accept Medicaid, and sometimes you have to supplement it. My grandmother was on a place that had believe Medicaid was paying part of, I know the kids were supporting her as well, but she did get some support. So it's um
Okay.
yeah, that's a strategy too. And then the other thing to be aware of, if you are gifting items, if the parent is gifting items, you don't get a step up in cost basis. So you'd pay the taxes if you sell it. You'd pay the taxes on that gain. Whereas if they die and it's inheritance, that cost basis moves up to the date of death or 6 months after, and you don't have to pay taxes on that gain. So some items are better just to keep in the estate, depending on how much there is there.
Right.
I know in the US that I've seen some surveys where people have very little savings. Um, a lot of people are just relying on Social Security. And so you don't have as many options. I think people with a lot of assets or some long-term care policy would have more options. And then the people in the middle, you could be just depleting your estate. But if you want to leave something behind, I think I'd consider um, going to out of the country could be a good option, or trying to get support so that you can not deplete your estate. Um, but that's what it's there for too. You've saved all these years so that if you haven't spent it by the time you need support, you can afford some support.
Right. Yeah. There are quite a few options.
Yeah, I think I just emphasize you don't want to burn out. I mean, I think that was something I really wanted to take a summer vacation, but that's yeah, you came up and covered for us, but otherwise I would have been here, and you could feel resentful or feel just burnt out if you can't ever leave because you're the caretaker. So
Yeah.
I think it's important to take care of yourself, and because it can be a long path. It may not be a short window that you're providing help.
Yeah, and then you come back and you are happy to see her and everything. It's good. It's not, yeah, like
It's not as
it's
much
a
of a
regular relationship. Yeah.
yeah. Um yeah, I think that's mostly the pieces I wanted to talk about. Anything else? I think, well, one other thing I can mention on the investment side is you just want to make sure beneficiaries are in place, state plans in place, and then your portfolio is set up for that time horizon that may be very short. So you may not want very much in the market at all if you're going to be using those assets in the next few years. Whereas if you have a large estate, you may be thinking of not the parent or the elder person's time horizon, but you're thinking of a lot of this is going to be inheritance. So you're thinking of the kids' time horizon or grandkids' time horizon. So portfolio should be set up really looking at that time horizon. What money is going to be needed this year, next year, in the next 5 years, be very conservative. And then you could be more aggressive if it's money that's for inheritance and has a long window.
Yeah, I could help with your estate planning.
Yeah, making a good plan. I think that's the other piece. If you don't remember anything else, is just have a plan because things change sometimes quicker than you'd expect. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Anything else you want to throw in there, Louise?
Well, no, I think that's a good message to take with us and thank you. Thank you for being with us today.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for watching. We're AIO Financial. If you need any help with any aspect of your financial planning, your financial world, let us know.
Yeah,
AIOfinancial.com.
the only advisors. Bye.
Bye.